Hi, my name's Yasmin and I'm the DM.
Hi, my name is Samantha. I play Elora Greyvale and she is a sorceress from the province of Nephalia.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I play Ogvar Shawfort, a goat-herding, mushroom-seeking ranger from Kessig.
Hi, I'm Rick, and I play Otto, a spring sage from Hanweir sworn to the land, wandering the plain and setting wrongs to right with his ursine companion, Bojo.
As we exited last episode, everyone had relocated back to the fortress. The magics outside the mine had ceased, allowing Elora and Ogvar to contact the Elysian Shadow, calling upon their companionable cavalry to aid the ground situation with the sick and the injured. Along with their friends came first aid, food, and finally the chance of a reunion for those that had been saved. Meanwhile, the confusion surrounding the unconscious man they suspected to be Hans Reinhart eventually reached a satisfactory conclusion. Rest for everyone was a requirement, and as a new day dawned, Elora and Rowan were thrilled to be reunited, and the fortress was flat-packed, and it was a case of all aboard ship for a short sail through the southern skies back to the town of Gatstaff. Episode 193, Flight of the Fumble 3.
Do you like your tabletop RPGs to be grim, gritty, and grounded? If so, then Legend of the Bones is the podcast for you. A hybrid of dark fantasy audio drama and old-school solo D&D. In Legend of the Bones, the dice rule. There'll be no rerolls, no fudging the dice, no metacurrency. The roll of the bones will determine the character's destiny, and no one will be spared their fate. None shall escape the destiny of Bone.
I was going to say, would she have recognised Oswald and Adam? So she's going to keep waving and say, Oswald, Adam, it's fine. It's okay. We've got the villagers. But she doesn't know whether they've got Samuel. She would have spoken to everybody there. Would she know whether they've also got Samuel with them?
Interesting question. Let me see.
I'm assuming she would know whether he was there or not, but it's not a question that she outrightly asked.
Okay. Let me see. Let me just think. Can I have a D100 from you, please, Elora?
Oh, a D100. Oh, okay. I've got to find a D10 now. D10. Right, okay. That would be a 56.
Okay. No, Samuel is not amongst the people that you've rescued.
Oh. Okay. Might she, during her investigations, talking to the villagers back at the tower, might she have actually asked if anybody had seen Samuel or seen what became of him?
I think this is a bit of a retrospective question because obviously you've just remembered about Samuel. I would say that for the people that you've rescued, they have mentioned that there were others with them, non-specific about who those people were, and that they were taken away and they never saw them again.
Well, there was a pile of bodies in there, and there was dead people that were wandering around by the gelatinous cube thing, the slime, and so he could have been up, and there was dead people in the spider area, so he could be any of them, couldn't he? So she wouldn't have known that.
Yeah. So
perhaps.
I think without having asked specifically, unless Rick, percentile roll from you, please.
Okay. Percentile roll coming up. We have got a 74.
Okay, no, that's fine. So that's all you know. You don't specifically know anything about Samuel. Just that he isn't there.
Okay, fine. So Elora's going to be shouting down to Adam and Oswald, "It's okay. It's all right. It's us. We've got your villagers.
Well, most of them.
We're just going down to land." And she's sort of waving her arms and pointing down.
Can I have a performance check, please?
Oh dear. Performance. You can. I don't have a
You didn't ask specifically for a good check, did you? I mean, we should have
no,
specified that.
I do. Performance. Well, I have got a +5 to performance, so let's see what happens. Oh dear. No, that's a 2 plus a 5 for a 7.
Okay. What ensues to anyone looking from the outside? Elora is hanging over the railings, held only by Esther at this point, who has braced her feet against the bottom part and is holding Elora steady, as Elora waves her arms around and makes all kind of weird shapes and gestures with her arms. She looks a little bit like one of those big wibbly wobbly inflatable like cheese string men you see outside car dealerships. And what you get in return from the ground is, as Adam and Oswald recognise your voice and are in a state of shock themselves, is you get a similar return from both of them as they begin to kind of panic, waving their arms around. And both sides are not understanding what the other one is trying to convey through interpretive dance.
So we're all just doing the YMCA, really.
I think.
Well, 3 of you are. The rest of them everyone else has just stood there going, "The fuck."
I think Otto's going to probably get the wrong end of this. It looks like you're trying to flap your birds and try to fly. So he's going to do his best to help.
Oh,
So he's going to, just very quietly while you're doing your lovely little dance routine, he's going to come up behind you. And he's going to jump and turn into that very large eagle form he used to fight above the ship previously.
Oh, God.
And as he does, he's going to jump up into the air. And as it's a large form that's fairly strong, he's going to grab hold of Elora.
Oh dear.
And lift her through the air, and we're going to descend far more rapidly than the others.
Awesome! Oh, well, she's going cloaks flapping, and it's like, woo! All you get is, woo!
Okay, so Elora is willing. Is Esther?
Yeah, she'll go. Oh!
I mean, Esther's not coming with it, it'll be fine.
Well, she's currently holding tight onto Elora, being the only thing preventing her from falling over the edge.
Can you hold 2 people?
Potentially,
Oh, no, surely
it's a fairly
but
large bird.
Otto hasn't got hold of Esther, has he?
Oh, he
no,
can speak, he'd
surely
probably tell her
Elora.
to bloody let go if he feels the extra weight.
Yeah, surely Elora would say, "Oh, let go, Esther."
No, because you haven't seen Otto doing this. Otto's just come up behind you as a bird. You've been
just
plucked
taken,
up.
right.
You've gone, realised. But Esther was the only thing anchoring you to the ship. So,
Okay, fine.
I need a... I'm
God.
assuming your strength check is going to be something ridiculous, Otto.
It's not that ridiculous, no. Oddly enough.
Okay. Can you give me your strength modifier, please?
In the bird form?
Yes.
No, I can't. I wasn't ready for this. Give me a second. You've gone and got me now. Oh, Christ, hang on. So for you two, essentially what I've got is the various sheets in one folder. And I generally just open up the 1 or 2 I need. And then that's it. I don't have to worry about it. Now go find the bloody things. Dear, oh dear.
Apologies.
In fact, it would be easier if I just do this. 1 second. There we go. We can do it that way. So the strength bonus of a giant eagle is going to be +4.
+4.
Oh.
Okay, so DC was set at 14 in that case.
Oh.
Esther rolled an 8 with a +2 for 10. So she was not able to resist being pulled along.
No.
She's now got to... Well, she's now got to hang on. So, we are going to say that is going to be a...
You got feather fall, right? Shit.
I'm going to say it's going to be another strength check to hang on. So Esther isn't the heaviest, so it's not going to be that difficult. I'm going to say it's probably going to be another 14 DC.
Good luck, Esther.
She rolled a 19 plus 2 for 21. So she is able to hang on. She is, however, screaming her head off. As you've pulled, you've...
That's an interesting turn of phrase there. Otto's pulled.
But I interrupted myself by laughing because you have done the unexpected journey thing with the pine tree over the edge of the mountain, where the giant eagles come along and swoop along and grab people and pluck them off. But attached to Elora is Esther, who is screaming like a banshee. Absolutely screaming her head off, as she finds herself now hung onto Elora's ankles, hanging over over nothingness, being flown down by a giant eagle.
Well, that's bloody inconvenient now, isn't it? Can I drop them off on top of the two guards? One on each.
No.
Are you genuinely trying to do that?
Yeah, only for about 2 feet above them, but yes.
Okay.
Skim the floor and let go. Oh
yeah.
my god, right, okay.
I am going to ask you to make me two dexterity checks.
Yep.
One for Esther, one for Elora. Esther will be a higher DC as you don't have direct control over her, so her DC is going to be 16. Elora's DC is only going to be 14.
Okay.
Right.
Well, let's go
Dexterity
for...
check coming up.
Not from you.
not from me.
No, this is me
No.
dropping you off in the right spot.
This is off.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, let's give it a go. So DC is 16 for Esther. I have only got a +3 to this. And that is a 19 on the dice.
Flight of the Valkyrie starts playing.
Yeah, let's get some Greek in here.
That's
And then a
Wagner
14 for
action.
Elora. This is where I'm going to roll a nat 1, right? This is the way this goes.
I'm gonna
Oh,
be
yeah,
a music
yeah,
snob.
that
is-
and tell
18 on the dice.
Oh
Okay.
my god, well done.
I'm going to be an absolute music snob here, Rick, and tell you that is Wagner. Not.
Oh, it is. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Nevertheless.
Oh, I'm thinking of Hall of the Mountain King. Sorry, yeah.
Yes, you
Yes.
are. Nevertheless, you quite epically managed to get both Elora and Esther as you released the talons, getting a little bit of banking on there to make sure that Esther's body kind of kicks upwards onto the horizontal as you let go, and both Esther and Elora kind of sideways body smash into both Oswald and Adam. And all four people go down in a tangled heap of limbs, quite amusingly.
It makes me think of Tumbleweed with limbs sticking out as they bounce across the floor.
Yeah. Not so amusingly from Esther, who immediately stands up, her hair askew, clothing smeared with dirt, shaking her fist at you, Otto, calling you goddamn pigeon!
Otto was going to land, but now that you've got it, he's going to bank at the last second, go
Oh no!
upwards
He's
a
gonna
bit,
shit on her.
and he's going to...
She
You
chucks
called
a
it.
rock at you. She chucks a rock at you.
I'm going to chuck something white and heavy on her head.
It was a very
Mostly
poor
liquid.
roll. She
D4?
she kind of rolls. She very much, Esther being the woman of action, you see her slam into Adam. Adam goes down like a sack of bricks, but she rolls with it, stands up in one fluid motion, shakes her fist at you, calls you a goddamn pigeon, and then attempts to throw a rock at you. But it's a very half-hearted attempt, and the rock, you're quick enough that you're able to kind of sweep out of the way as the rock kind of clatters off into the distance harmlessly. It was a bloody good toss from Esther, but just didn't hit you. She stands there shaking her fist up at you.
I will relent. I won't give her the good luck charm on the shoulder, and instead I'll just bank round and alight very gently next to her while turning back into my human form. The only time he can really look good is when he's doing bird flying tricks.
She huffs at you. She has got her hands on her hips, and she just huffs at you, looks at you with the most scandalised, dirty expression that she can conjure, and then promptly ignores you.
Otto will stick his tongue at her and ignore her. And then we'll watch as the ship comes down.
Yeah. So, with all this going on, the ship is brought down. Jenric and Eric and Olvar all stood aboard the top deck, controlling this as it comes down. And you imagine the conversation between the three of them is quite amusing as they witness this event go on, and everything unfold. But the ship comes down. By the time you've all kind of stood up and righted yourselves, and you've had the chance to kind of greet Adam and Oswald and just be like, whoa, don't panic, it's fine, this is our ship, we've got people, tell them basically you've rescued some of the people from the mines. The ship has alighted on the ground, and Ogvar is starting to call out to Eric, better get the lift ready. We'll have to lift them down. As you see Eric and Ogvar both start to get the cargo lift sorted and start actually laying some wooden planks to create a solid floor in the bottom of the net. As you imagine, they're just going to start basically craning people down. And this is the situation you've got now. You've dropped the ship, you've got people who are ready to disembark, and you've got a very confused Adam and Oswald.
Hi. Sorry, came in a bit hot there. Elora stands up, brushes some leaves out of her hair, flaps her cloak a bit to get rid of some dust, and she has got a cheeky grin on her face because I think it's just unwinding after the horrors of the last... It's a distraction from everything that's just gone in the previous 48 hours, really.
Yeah. Oswald stands up and cranes his head back, one hand over his brows like a navy, like a sailor. Bleeding heck, what is that?
That's our ship.
Yes, yeah. Hey, crikey, I thought they were supposed to be on the water.
Oh. Sometimes, and sometimes it's not. I mean, it's no big deal. More importantly, you've got some folks on board that you know about. You'll see him down soon. See him going with Freddy.
If you say so.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean, people aboard?
We've cleared out the mine.
You've done what now?
We've cleared out the mine.
Well, I heard what you said. I was just surprised that you done it.
Yeah, well, it's a good job that nobody else went up there. It was horrific. Your poor villagers were... Well, they were taken. There's men, there's women, there's children. They've been tortured and injured, and we've done what we can for them. We've offered some healing, but they're going to need time to recover from the ordeal. And you need to organise some people to get them back to their families. If you go round to the ship, you'll be able to greet them.
Bladed heck.
I'm sure they'll have plenty to tell over the time. But, you need to treat them real gentle.
Right, better go get some wagons. Right.
We didn't get everyone back though. I'm sure there will be people that we did not get back, and some of them might not even be from the village.
You see,
I don't know who they all are.
You see both Oswald and Adam kind of gulp, and the joviality has gone. They are serious now. They look at you and they nod and right. Well, better go get a wagon to get them back into town and perhaps the back to the inn. That's probably the best place for them.
Yeah, you're going to need to get You're going to need to get medics and supplies and stuff like that.
We'll be back in a couple of minutes, and with that, both of them turn tail, and you see them disappear back down the road through the gate. They leave the gate wide open, obviously knowing that you're there, and they head back down the long road towards the centre of town, through between two rows of houses where you can see the small church in the middle, as they disappear off, hanging right at the very end, and obviously going towards the inn. As you begin to unload people, and you can hear and you can see that Ogvar and Eric and Jenric have started loading people up and actually craning them down. Some of them are taking the ladder down or ropes down who are able, but everyone else is kind of being lifted down as you've been speaking. And
right.
It isn't too long, perhaps 10 minutes, before you hear the clatter of a clatter of several wagons, as two wagons, just simple flatbed wagons, nothing fancy, they're not carriages, these are very clearly farm wagons, appear up the road, the ponies being encouraged into a quick trot as they pull the wagons. And you see atop these wagons there are obviously people driving the carriages, but there are a great many of the townsfolk who are either jogging alongside or have jumped up onto the wagon beds as they've passed to come up to the northern gate, having heard from Oswald and Adam that there's a bloody big ship over there. I mean, some of them have probably seen it, but with confirmation that it's you, and you've actually managed to recover and rescue some of their neighbours, friends and family. Everyone has now kind of started making their way up to witness exactly what's going on.
Yeah, I should imagine town's getting quite crowded as people are thronging down towards the gate area.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't a great many. This isn't a very highly populated town, this isn't a massive town, but yes, it does appear that aside from perhaps the children who you imagine have been told to stay indoors and wait where you are, the vast majority of the adults have been or have decided to come out to see. And as the wagons arrive at the northern gate, the drivers kind of, whoa, steady now, slow the ponies down, bringing them to a halt as people begin to offload off the back of the wagons. You see the same teary-eyed woman who had been wailing in the... where's the name of it? I've just looked it up, I've forgotten it. In the rhubarb and elderflower.
Elderflower.
Yeah. You can see the same woman who'd been wailing, one of the women who'd been wailing in the rhubarb and elderflower, is kind of closest to the front, jostling for position, her hands kind of wringing tight a hanky of some kind, as she kind of scans over the scant number of survivors. And as her eyes alight on one of the children, the child too meets her gaze, and there is an absolute moment of pure rejoice as both mother and child are clearly reunited. She pulls him in tight, coddles him, kisses all over his head and his neck. She's crying, the child's crying, there are people around you crying, and gradually as people begin to recognise their friends, their family, their neighbours, and you see quite a few scenes of reunion. A couple of the men are being surrounded by some of the other miners, not Davy, the head miner, but some of the other miners, being slapped on the back, pulled into rough man hugs. Everyone's a little bit teary, a little bit misty-eyed, but the worst thing about this scene is the people who have not been reunited. The same woman who has been reunited with her son, another woman almost identical to her stands next to her, clearly a twin sibling, and she is devastated, as clearly her own child is not there.
Oh.
And she's wailing. The women have surrounded her, picking her up as she's almost collapsed down to the floor. And as she sobs, her sister, pulls her down and hugs, brings her into a hug, and nothing can ease the pain of that lost child. Two twins, one having been reunited, the other having lost. And it's tough to watch. It's a struggle to watch. The old woman is surrounded by a very large family. You can see what you assume to be 4 generations around her. She's clearly the matriarch of their family, the eldest. You see what you assume to be her sons, grandsons, granddaughters, great-granddaughters, all kind of around her, sniffling, hugging her. They've brought her shawl, which they've wrapped around her tight, and it is chaos for the moment. Nobody is really questioning the ship. Nobody is really paying any attention to any of you at this point in time. They are just so focused on trying to find their loved ones, trying to reunite, reconnect those bonds, either or just enveloped in pure grief as they've realised that if it's true what Adam and Oswald have said, that you've recovered the people from the mines, then there's no hope for their own loved ones. So it's quite raucous, and it's quite heady and emotionally charged. There are whispers of Samuel's name. People have clearly noticed that Samuel isn't amongst the people that have been recovered. And it is at this point that a young woman approaches you. She can't be any older than 22. And she is dressed in what you would both recognise as a very, very simple priestly outfit. As she kind of approaches you with clasped hands. Avacyn's light be upon you all. I understand from Adam and Oswald that you have returned our people to us.
We've done our best. We'll go back and get the others that we couldn't bring with us shortly. I'll have a quick word with Davy once we're done here, and
By
take care of that.
couldn't bring with you, do you mean they were too ill to travel, or?
No, those are the ones that didn't survive.
That was
Unfortunately,
what
there
I
are
feared.
far more of them than we were able to bring home. And it was close to even manage this. I'm sorry we couldn't get there sooner.
You see, she bites her lip, and you can see that her lip is already quite bruised and swollen looking. She's clearly been worrying her lip, and this is clearly almost like a stress, an indicator for her that she's concerned or stressed. As she begins to worry her lip once again. Well,
I understand.
I thank you for everything you've done. I know you've said that there are no other survivors, but I don't suppose there's any chance with you haven't seen Samuel, have you?
We can go back and look. I'll speak to Davey about getting some of the miners together. I'll head over there. If Elora, perhaps if you can assist here, there's no need for you to go back through that again.
Yeah,
I'll go back with Ogvar and we'll take care of it.
I understand. When we first got to the village, Oswald and Adam explained that there were maybe a dozen of your villagers missing. Now, we've brought back, is it 7? I've lost count. I'm
7.
a little confused. Yeah, we've brought back 7. They may not all be from this village. because there were people from, we're led to understand, from towards Stensia way, but there were a lot of bones. There were a lot of... None of them were recognisable. There wasn't much left of the remains that are in there. There were a number of creatures that had obviously taken some of the prisoners. But there was also a lot more underhand things that were going on via a cult that had taken a hold of the mine. And those people fared far worse at their hands than they did the ones that got caught out by the creatures and the nasties that they put in the mine.
The young woman...
I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know how many people are actually in the mine. A lot. There's a lot that we didn't bring out because there was nothing left effectively to bring out. I do not know how you would identify these people, and I do not know which of those people are your villagers. I am very sorry for those that you have lost.
The young woman looks horrified as you say this, but she visibly steels herself as she whispers a prayer to Avacyn, clasping her hands and looking towards the sky, where you would assume the moon would be, should it be nighttime. And she looks towards you. Well, I think of the 7 that you have saved, they are all of this town. The other 5, we'll have to see if we can identify them, but obviously we know who is missing. So we will hold rights for them regardless of whether we have a corpse or not. Thank you for all that you've done.
Was the 7 including Hans? It wasn't, was it? Or was it?
No, it wasn't.
So that was. We did also find Hans, so we have recovered an 8th person.
Oh, blessed be. Thank you. Yes. Sorry, I appear to have miscounted. She looks around. Well, this is going to be... I was hoping... It might be selfish of me to say, but I was hoping that Samuel would be among the survivors. He was really the core of this town.
And that's possibly why he didn't. They were very cruel. And I think if they thought that anybody had a particular worth or value to this town, I think they would have used them.
She begins to sob softly, and she wipes her eyes furiously, almost angry at herself for breaking her composure. Well, I don't really know what to do now. It's...
Comfort those that need the comfort.
Yes, I shall.
They need you.
Yeah, yes, indeed. And she turns and she begins to precisely do that. And you can see that there is perhaps... you can see she's dressed in priestly robes. You would assume that she has an association with Samuel. Either his junior or a priest working under him, or even his successor. And she begins moving amongst her people, providing reassurance, attempting to comfort people through their loss, celebrating with people who have rejoined, seen their families made whole again. And you do see in her there is a strong trace of leadership. She's clearly holding herself high. And can you both please make me insight checks, or sense motive checks? I think is the best one to go for here.
Insight check, did you say?
Sense
motive.
Oh, sense motive. Okay.
The dice are loving me so far today. I've got a 17 this time, plus 5 for 22.
Someone's got to, Rick.
Elora got a 15, minus 1 for a 14.
Okay, so I would say with the 14, it's perhaps not enough. You're so engrossed in everything going on, the sheer weight of the past couple of days and everything happening, that you are basically checked out, Elora. You're overwhelmed. You're just floating along at the moment, just existing.
Yep.
Otto, you are able to perhaps perceive a little more than Elora did. You are able to notice as what I think I will explicitly state is almost a rift in power. Samuel was the key player for this town. He was the one who kept Davy in control. You know this. From Oswald and Adam, you know that Davy's now causing problems. And from this one interaction with this young woman, who didn't name herself at this point, you are able to see that there is a quiet kind of core to her. And looking around, she is the only one dressed in this garb, in this priestly garb. And it would be very easy for you to assume that she would have been Samuel's successor. You don't know how old Samuel was, you don't. But you would assume that he was probably somewhere in his 40s to 50s. An older, stronger male figure to lead this town. And I think you would probably quite correctly make the assumption here that this young woman was his protege, and that he was raising her to be his replacement for his retirement, essentially. And you can see through the way that she moves through the crowd, the women are very welcoming and accepting of her. They treat her very kindly, but not in the way that a mother does a daughter. It is a respect earned from being a female in a position of power or strength or leadership. Whereas there is that admiration where they living very normal, ordinary daily lives, looking after their family, they see this young woman who is striding ahead, and they see her as almost a role model, even though she's several years younger than most of them. The children you see are, because the children haven't listened to their parents, they haven't stayed in the house, they want to see what this cool big black ship thing is. They've all kind of run out, and you can see that as she moves through, the children play around her, they run around her, they're very much at ease. They turn to her for guidance. There's a small gaggle which are pestering around her, going, what's that, what's this, what's that, what's going on, what's happening. They're coming to her for answers. And similarly, as she walks through the crowd, you see that some of the men look on at her in what you would assume is a amorous position, although she clearly does not return any advances, especially at the moment. Some of the older men are grandfatherly and very warm and nurturing, and then there's a subsection which you very, very kind of easily can read into as being some of the miners who are standoffish, who look down upon her. And you are very easily able to perceive this entire kind of power play and dynamic just from watching her interact with the people around you.
Well, let's give her a little bit of a boost, shall we? Obviously, at the moment, there's a few things happening here. The town's going to recover. My intention, Otto's intention, is to, once we've got everyone unloaded, let's go have a quick word with Davy and to instruct him on the need to gather a few of his stronger, perhaps he might point out some of the more argumentative miners.
Yep.
And we're going to go back to the mine, and we're going to spend some time clearing out the bodies. Building up a pyre and identifying those that they can. That will give hopefully Elora and perhaps Ogvar some time to work their magic locally, and perhaps support this young lady in helping the people rebuild, helping give some support to those people who obviously need it. And if we were to spend a couple of days clearing out their mine, because it's going to be long, hard work, and they won't be able to use it until we're done, that should give you a couple of days just to get everyone's sort of views cemented with the boys out of town. Which I think probably Otto feels he can deal with, and it'll give you some rest. And I think Otto will probably just sleep when he can, essentially.
Okay. So, are you intending to do this right away, or are you intending to let everyone have an overnight kind of rest and reset, or just right away?
Right away. I think Otto's looking at this. Obviously, he knows Davey's going to cause some problems because they've seen him at work already. Let's get him out of town, get him away. I know that some of the other miners will be affected, but let's pick those that don't have family missing, those that are just those before that he met that were grumping and that they couldn't return back to their mines, and how someone should be doing something about it. Let's take them, let's give them something to do, and then once they're out of the way, hopefully again, once we come back in a couple of days, then we can get everyone sorted.
Okay, so yeah, you let things perhaps die down a little bit. You know the kind of the main charge of emotion has petered off, and people are starting to not necessarily look to return to the town at the moment. They're still, reconnecting with those people who've been lost, but it has dropped into a lull. And I assume at this point you would approach Davy Otto.
Yeah, I think Otto just spend a few moments explaining his plan to Elora.
Perfect.
To make sure she agreed with that first. And then...
Yeah, she's absolutely on board with that. She thinks that's actually a very good idea.
Yeah, we've all got our strengths, and Elora and Otto are probably better with the nicer people than Otto is, who really doesn't have the patience for having to deal with people crying all over the place. But he has even less patience for those people who are inclined to push other people around. So let's get them out of town.
Esther, I mean, you've got Okvar there, you've got Esther, Jenrick and Eric. So I mean, the whole little gang is together at this point when you're explaining this.
Yeah.
Jenrick and Erica. Jenrick is very, very wise there. That is, that is a commendable course of action. Eric is in agreement with Jenrick, but he's definitely not offering to go into those mines with you. You then have who am I thinking of? My brain's gone. Ogvar, sorry. Ogvar is there's a lot of NPCs and names to keep in order, okay?
Ogvar's NPC now. Oh,
he's
been demoted.
He is at the moment, yeah. He's gained a letter, so you could see that as a promotion in some way. Ogvar is, yes, that's a very good idea, Otto, and if I stay with Elora, then I can help with things, and I can perhaps go and do some hunting and other bits. Very agreeable. And Esther turns to you. Well, dearie, would you like me to come with you? I'm more than happy to go into the mines with you, provide you perhaps some support, and I'm used to dealing with corpses and the such. I can provide some last rites on the scene and help out. I'm happy to do that.
I think it would give Esther some perspective. So obviously we've explained what's happened, but it would give her some perspective.
Esther's
Elora just
a woman
shrugged.
who's seen a lot of different things. I appreciate that. I appreciate that she's been on the hard, sharp end of things before, but this isn't a nice place. I think Otto would take some pains to explain that obviously he's trying to restrict the number of people that have to go down there. I know Esther's capable. He can do the last rites of the land just as easily as she can, although she would perhaps add more authority to it. She's very welcome to come along if she chooses.
What about Galor?
Well, sorry, 1 second, if I can jump in here. Esther looks at you, Otto, in the eye. Dear, I've seen a great many things in my time, and while I cannot truthfully say that I've seen such a thing as you have described before, I am not one to shirk away from the responsibilities and duties that have been bestowed upon me by my church and my faith. I will come with you, should you wish for me to. If I am going to get in the way, then obviously feel free to tell me to bugger off. But I will come with you.
You're very welcome, as always.
Okay. Were you going to say something there?
No. Esther's smart enough to make up her own mind. She knows what she's letting herself in for. There's just a bunch of arseholes that are going to come along for the ride, and she's going to have to deal with them as well.
Okay, so as you were standing there having this discussion, you realise that there is also one other person who has stood with you. And that person is Kaif, who looks remarkably lost. this is not his town. These are not his people. And obviously he knows what he's done, and he knows the weight of his own actions. So he's kind of stood awkwardly, almost at the edge of your circle, listening in, kind of scuffing his feet along the floor, not really sure what to do with himself.
Something to say, lad?
No. Just wondering what my fate is going to be.
Well, we both know that you did bad things, and we both know that you're trying to make up for it. So let's carry on with that, shall we? Let's let folks see that you're helping clear up the mess. That you are going to be one of them, hopefully in time. I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, let's glance over to Elora. I think there's always every chance that we might be able to invite you to join us. You've certainly proved yourself. Let's give the choice to you. But, yeah, you come along with me. And if there's any hard heads around there, I'm sure you don't mind cracking a couple of skulls together.
Okay, yes, sure. And he nods along. He'll go with you. Okay, so you've got this lull in the crowd. You've got this kind of almost like almost dying down. People aren't making a move to leave yet, but there's a lull.
Okay, so it's time to go find Davy, who I have no doubt is in the pub, right?
No, surprisingly enough, he isn't in the pub.
I think too little of him.
He is amongst the crowd at the north gate. He is stood separate from other people. And you see the derisive looks he chucks towards some of the women who are wailing and making a fuss. Just a general kind of dismissal and annoyance more than anything else. He stands there with folded arms in very guarded posture, and there are a couple of these other men of a similar viewpoint who are skulking around in his shadow, occasionally making a snarky comment or two to each other and laughing amongst themselves, very much juxtaposed to the general ambience and mood around here, shall we say. They're almost kind of like leaned against the palisade wall, kind of kicking back, almost watching the show unfold.
Okay. Well, I'll try to give one last glance at Elora, just making sure that she's all right, and I'm sure she is. And then also we'll make his way over to this gang of thugs.
Yep. Okay.
And he'll make a beeline for Davy.
Okay.
Davy, wasn't it? That
What's
was
it
your
to you?
name, right? Yeah.
What's it to you?
I remember you as the arsehole who was giving me jip when we first met. I'll make it really clear. I don't like you, but we got a job to do together, and the mine's your business, right? That's what you said.
He spits, and it's like a little wad of like chewing tobacco. He spits it out right at your feet. Yeah, mine's my business. None of
Great.
yours, really.
Good. That's fine by me, but we got to go clean it up. There's a bit of a mess in there. You got the balls for it?
Who the fuck do you think you're talking to?
Okay, Otto's taking none of this shit. He's going to turn into a troll.
Okay. Can you please make me a intimidation check at advantage?
We can do this. I'm not buying new dice, but this one's an 18. The dice are loving this. The other one is a nat 20.
Oh my god.
Which is just as well, because he gets a +2 on the intimidation, so he's not a very intimidating guy normally.
That is bloody beautiful. Right, what we're going to do is we're going to do... can you please make me a D12 roll, Otto?
D12?
Yes.
Is this pick out the dice you haven't used for a while? No.
No, it's not. It's just the one which I looked at and thought that's most easily divisible by 3.
I got 9. I mean...
9, so... Okay. That is the perfect roll. Congratulations. So, as you turn into a troll, Your form swells and blooms out. Your skin darkens and turns green. You gain knobbles and bobbles, and you just generally look very horrifying and also smell very bad. The men surrounding Davy, several of them fall over in shock, crawling backwards on their on their butts until they reach the palisade wall behind them, and kind of realising they can go no further, kind of just start whimpering and yelping. And obviously this spectacle attracts a lot of attention from the crowd around. A lot of people gasp and move out of the way. I imagine in the background, your friends, Elora, Kaif, Ogvar, Jenric and Eric and Esther just kind of, you hear noise from them reassuring, it's all right, calm down, it's all right, don't worry, don't panic, it's just one of our companions, doing his thing. As people just generally kind of, you now have a large semicircle formed around this section of the wall where Davy was leaning against. The same Davy who, looking in front of you, you get a whiff. And first of all you think, oh, that's a new smell, I haven't smelt that bad while I was a troll before. And then you see that he is basically calicoed his trousers. The front is a yellow, the back is a brown. As he's kind of collapsed back against the wall, and he's blanched a pale white, and expressed himself in multiple ways.
It's a whole colour card.
Nice.
He's got calico trousers.
Yeah.
I think Otto's going to make a bit of a thing of this. He's going to put his nose in there. Obviously, the very long hooked trouser nose, quite prominent. Smells a little interesting down there. Davey, let me put it like this, mate. Everyone's just seen or smelt, hopefully not felt, your reaction.
Ooh.
I'm going to ask once, and I'm going to ask nicely. Grab some of your mates. We're going to go clean up the mines. Before you do that, go get a new pair of trousers. You're looking bad in front of the women and children.
Nice.
Okay, so yes, indeed. Give me 1 second. I'm just trying to do something fun here. Give me a second.
Of course.
Okay. Davy he goes through a vast array of colours. He goes from the blanched white to an embarrassed red, through to a fuming purple, back to an embarrassed red, as he looks at you and then storms off. But as he storms off, obviously he storms off and it reveals his backside to the entire crowd. You can all see the evidence of his fear smeared and the stain growing. Some of his groupies scrabble off after him. They've avoided any unfortunate accidents with their digestive systems and whatnot. But they scrabble after him, and a couple of them kind of hang back, not really sure whether they want to follow him, as they kind of disappear off. And there's a great amount of muttering as they kind of leave from the assorted crowd. Some muffled sniggers and laughter. Very unkind whispers start spreading about, as you can say, I think pretty simply, you could say that the general tone around the settlement has changed in that one instant, from being almost a equal balance between Davy's crew and this young woman. You would say there's definitely been a change in that balance. People now aren't as scared of Davy as they were before, having just seen him shit himself in front of someone, in front of the entire town, basically.
Work on the assumption that he'll be back soon, because he certainly wouldn't want to stick around a bunch of people who've just seen that, with his pride being what it is. I think Otto's going to turn around as a troll. He's going to glare at the children that are watching over, and then he's going to wink and turn into a giant butterfly and flutter over towards them.
Very cute. Okay, you turn into a giant butterfly and flutter towards them, and you begin to play a game of tag with the children. They're very entranced by you, and even some of the adults are looking very admiringly at your abilities and the kind of... what colour butterfly are you?
Oh, lots of pinks and purples and yellows and reds.
Pinks.
Pretty much every colour you can think of as it sunlight reflects off of the wings.
Yeah, you're very pretty, you're very eye-catching, and seeing you interact and play with the children, people aren't dragging their children away from you. They're actually quite content to let you do whatever you're doing and otherwise distract and entertain these children who are at the moment getting quite underfoot.
The sight of the airship approaching the town spread panic below, and all attempts by Elora to reassure the guards were somehow lost in translation. As Otto offered Elora and Esther a more direct approach to their destination, not all of his surprise passengers were willing or happy. Returning the survivors for their reunions with family and friends was bittersweet. Some rapturous, whilst others left heavy with heartbreak, mourning their missing. With Davy openly defying Otto in his attempts to muster men to help clean up the mine, it was time to employ some very convincing intimidation tactics. Don't forget to join us next week, folks, for episode 194.